So ever since getting the new M52 in the 318 Ti, I've noticed that the rear end is pretty damn sloppy. Half the time it just feels like it wants to fall out. So today we're gonna be fixing that. So I went over to Condor Speed Shop and I picked up not only rear subframe riser bushings, but also a lot of other stuff. We got a new diff bushing, we have diff mount reinforcement plates, and we've got the diff stud conversion kit. Today, I want to try and get the rear subframe out. I want to try and get the reinforcements welded on and hopefully try and get it painted today. I've pulled out one rear subframe before, but the thing is that was a regular E36 subframe. Now, even though that this car is an E36, it has the rear subframe of an E30. This is a regular E36 rear subframe. It's got 4 mounting points and it's got the rear trailing arms and it's got the lower camber arms and everything. But if we hop up underneath the Compact, it might be hard to tell where everything's laid out, but it's obviously a little bit different. The main subframe is just this main bar that runs across 2 points underneath the car. And of course, we only have one like semi-trailing arm setup, and then it's just axle, shock, and then the diff just is kind of hanging here. So in theory, it might be a little bit easier than it would be on like an E36 because there's only 2 main points that connect up to the chassis itself. But there are some differences that are gonna end up creating a little bit more work later. Kellen's under there right now getting the exhaust off, and while he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the drive shaft disconnected. That bitch is on there. Oh my god. Fuck. That's too much work. See, the shock is the move. You can't just do constant force. You gotta give it a good smack. Like that. Oh yeah. Boom. So we got the support off. We have the center support bearing disconnected back there. Now, the drive shaft is loose. We still won't be able to pull it out. Once we get the actual subframe to start moving, as we bring it down, then we'll have to pull the drive shaft out and get it out of the way. But I think the next order of business is going to be getting the shocks disconnected on either side, and then also drop the sway bar off the actual chassis. Gabe literally put that one in. He just said that the passenger side was loose. Did you even have to try to break it loose? Or did it
broke loose, kinda.
Gabe, I'm gonna kill your ass. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of sad how fast these Max Peating Rod shocks started to rust over. Who knows? Maybe I'll hit them with a wire brush and then throw like some oil on them or something to keep them lubed up. This ratchet kind of sucks. Is this Gabe's ratchet?
Yes.
Of course it's Gabe's ratchet. Gabe's ratchets suck.
Oh yeah, little by little.
It's almost there. It's almost right there. Ooh.
Nice.
This bitch hot. Why is there hair around it? You see this?
Whoa. Is that hair or is spider web? That looks like spider web eggs. That looks like
I looked up there, there's just some web. Just tucked it right in there. Oh, those were little eggies. I saw little speckly bits. Instead of going to take the parking brake out of the actual parking brake assembly on the rotor, I'm just gonna take it out from inside the car and pull the wires through because that's just gonna be a hell of a lot easier. You can see under here, it's literally just 4 nuts, locking nuts, and then an adjustment nut on each of these, and then the wires should just pull through out of the back of the car. Alrighty, so with the nuts off of both of those, we can come back to the parking brake cable, and we should be able to pull it through. Wait. Here are the 2 holes that it goes up into the actual cabin, and those are pretty corroded. I think those might be holding these in. So with a little bit of tugging, Kellen was actually able to get his cable out on that side, and you can see that it just comes straight out. Boom, just like that. We got both of the parking brake cables out. All right, so now that we have the parking brake cables out of the way, we only have a handful of things left before we can actually start dropping the rear subframe. One of those things is we just need to disconnect these electrical connectors on either side. I wanna say those are ABS sensors, and there might be also a wheel speed sensor on the other side. And then along with that, we have to disconnect this brake hard line from the soft line over there that goes up into the chassis, because this bracket right here is actually attached to the trailing arm. So we can't just take the caliper off the rotor and let it hang, because it would still be attached to the rear subframe itself. So like I said, we got to disconnect that. We got to disconnect the electrical connections, and then we should be good to start actually dropping this thing. All right, got the brake lines disconnected. They got their little brake line condoms on them so they don't drip everywhere. These freaking suck. Especially since my car is already rusty. I started rounding this one off right away. So then I switched to this side, and this side came right off. And then once I got this off, I came back to this side, and this one kept wanted to round off. But eventually, it gave way, and we were able to get them off. And it was especially stupid because the smaller end on those requires an 11mm hose wrench. Line wrench? Line wrench. But of course, the stupid Harbor Freight kit I have skips it. So I originally rounded it off with an 11mm wrench, and then I had an aha moment, realized that Gabe has an 11mm line wrench. So brake lines suck. But now, with the brake lines disconnected, all we have left to do is to detach the mount on either side of the subframe, and then detach the bolt that's holding in the one ear for the diff, and then we can actually just drop this thing. All right, give her a little zip zap.
Zippy zap.
With a patty whack. Oh, well, I mean, if it's just gonna come out. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Maybe we balanced it very well. Also, this metal seems oddly flimsy to be holding up the entire diff.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
I can understand why people, because some people, they do like the dual ear conversion. And you can make it a dual ear, kind of like a E36, like a regular E36 diff. All right, on to the other mounts. These mounts are kind of interesting because there's like a little bracket that goes from the actual mount itself over back along the rail over here. So we got to take off these two bolts, and then we'll go ahead and take that nut off. I already lubed them up, so they should be decently easy to get off. Ooh. Bink, 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 bink. Fucking. All right, we're getting the extendo ratchet on here, I think.
Are you guys putting it back now?
Huh?
No, I'm taking it.
Oh.
What'd you do?
Oh, the bolt just snapped.
Oh, brother.
Oh, you gotta love it. Wait, now I'm scared.
I'm getting groped.
Oh, this one's coming out. Oh.
Oh.
Is it off? Hey, look at that. Okay, yeah, it's coming straight down, it looks like. Oh, wait, here's that. You gotta think about the drive shaft.
Stroke that thing, cuzzo.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just like that. That bitty's out. Honestly, I think that ended up being a bit easier than the E36 rear subframe. Just because you don't have to worry about bringing it down perfectly straight. Because this only has 2 points that amounts to. I'm awake now, baby. Ooh. Fuck. Sick. Usually, you have to try and line up all 4 of these holes in the subframe and put these bolts in. And they never want to line up right, and it's just annoying to do it because you're blind half the time trying to put the bolts in. But with the studs, you just have studs in the diff that you slot up into the subframe, and it supposedly makes your life a hell of a lot easier. But I've just got to say, Condor Speed Shop, why did you decide to make the Allen key to be able to torque these into the diff? Why did you make it a 7/32 Allen key? I don't know, I feel like metric would just make more sense. I don't know if that's just me, but anyways, we got it, and it's time to put these in. Now, of course, we got to throw some thread locker on these. I just gotta go ahead and torque these down to 25 foot-pounds. Right? Like, am I just being needlessly scared? I don't think so. You know what? I'm gonna tighten it down until I feel more resistance with a smaller ratchet. Just feels like it keeps going. I'm gonna give it one more little last shot. Let me make sure, is this at 25? Yeah, it's at 25. If anything, it's 24. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. That doesn't feel right to me. So you know what? We're just gonna snug them down with the regular little ratchet. I kind of want to try and hit this one with the torque wrench now. No, I'm not going to. Not going to. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Plus, I just don't trust the torque wrench, realistically. Cool. Well, that's done. So originally, I had the thought that I was going to want to put these on and then paint the entire subframe. But after thinking about it, the subframe, yeah, it looks bad. Overall, isn't too corroded. And my thought process is that this in its current condition will outlive the chassis anyways. So I don't think I'm gonna paint it aside from the spots that I have to weld these onto. Let's prep this up, and then we can get to doing some welding, I think. Listen, I might be wearing fingerless gloves, but they're better than no gloves, so. Okay, cool. That looks good. Let's lay down some tacks. Now it's time to lay some beads, brother. I am so proud of myself. Dude, look at these welds. I haven't welded in months. That looks good. I'm so happy with that. I wish I would have kept a continuous bead across this side though, because all the stops, they make it look a little icky. I'm still happy with it. Now we just gotta weld on this reinforcement plate and then this reinforcement plate. So I'm kind of just chilling, sitting here right now, finishing off a stack of saltines. You know, think about life, the decisions I've made. Here's the issue. So I just got done welding on this reinforcement plate. I know welds are ugly. I'm bad in tight spaces. But anyways, I realized that if I were to grab a washer and have it up over this hole, the welds make it so the washer doesn't sit flat. And unfortunately, I don't have anything to be able to get in that tight space to be able to grind down those welds. So the only option that I can think of in my mind is to grind off like part of the washer so it'll actually sit flush and not interfere with the welds. Not exactly what I want to do. I'm not sure if it's a great idea, but it's kind of the only thing that I can do right now. And I'm going to keep that in mind for when I do the plate on this side. I'm just not going to weld like any of this portion over here because I don't want to make my life harder than it needs to be. There's small little mistakes, you know? Things that you don't think about until you've already done the thing. It's all right though, we're going to keep chugging along. It's ugly, and I'm not happy about it. But at least this side came out a lot better. The washer actually sits nice and flush on here, doesn't come in contact with any of the welds, and overall it just looks a hell of a lot better. Alrighty, I think that's where we're going to end it for this video. I think I'm going to make this a little two-part series. Partially because there's not much else that I want to try and do tonight, and also I'm trying to spread out my content so I have more videos to put out for you guys. In the next video, we're going to be doing the subframe bushings, we're going to be doing the diff bushing, and then hopefully we'll be able to get the subframe back in the car and the 318 Ti will be driving with a much better feeling rear end. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.